that they take. For instance, Your Honor, if we look at the recent bar exam reforms in Japan and Korea, it used to be that the passing rate in Japan was like 4 to 5%. Korea was 2 to 3%. Now they have instituted reforms. They have copied our system of education and our bar exam system. They're aiming at 20 to 25. The difference, Your Honor, is that because they belong to the continental tradition, students choose their career path toward the last 2 years of their life as law students. In other words, they already choose their focus, whether they would like to be members of the judiciary, members of the prosecutorial service, or members of the practicing bar. And maybe we can take that direction. We have already actually taken one major step in that direction, the Philippine Judicial Academy. And I have for a long time been on the faculty of the PhilJA. And my experience there is that until PhilJA, it wasn't just that the judges had no opportunity for, in effect, continuing legal education. For me, it was more than just the academic. For lack of a better word, I call it the social. They had no opportunities, they had very little opportunity to sit down and exchange notes, exchange experiences as judges with fellow judges on the day-to-day work that they face.
You are in favor of MCQ in the bar exams?
Yes, Your Honor. I voted for it under the Committee of Justice Vitug, but that was...
But I understand UP, not a single student from UP landed in the top 10.
Your Honor, well...
the MCQ.
Well, Your Honor, the UP had a very good...
There will be more faculty members who will oppose you in UP.
No, Your Honor. The passing rate of UP was very good. So okay. We looked at the passing rate,
it's not gauged by the top
not the top 10. And also, Your Honor, when I voted for the MCQ, it was on the assumption that there will be a sitting panel of examiners who will bounce off the questions onto one another. So this year, I sat on the Validation Committee of Justice Abad to review the questions in political law after it was given, to comment on the questions. For me, that is, of course, a wonderful innovation by Justice Abad. But what I would add is, if there was a panel, there could have been a preliminary vetting of questions.
Oh. Anyway, the present chairman adopted the MCQ. I think he adopted 60% of the questions will be MCQ. The 40 questions will be the essay type. So in each subject, 60% of which will be MCQ. The 40% will be essay. So there's a little innovation of the bar exams this year. Because I think last year there were no essay questions, purely MCQ, and then the writing memorandum and so on. Okay.
Well,
on that note, thank you very much, Dean.
Well, thank you also, Your Honor.
Okay. Good luck.
Salamat po. Thank you, ma'am.
Now, it's already 1:10, so we will suspend our proceedings. We will begin at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Diyan po nagtapos ang ating morning session ng JBC interviews for the next Chief Justice. Ngayong umaga po ay napanood po natin ang interviews kay Supreme Court Associate Justice Roberto Abad, Attorney Rafael Morales, at Dean Raul Pangalangan. Attorney Trixie, itong mga individual na ito have been very successful in their chosen careers. You have an innovator in the Supreme Court, you have a very successful corporate lawyer, and you have a very successful law dean. Sa tingin mo, ano yung mga highlights or napansin mong bentahe ng karakter ng bawat isa?
Well, since we're basing it on interviews, no, yung mga style nilang nakikita natin dito. So you have Justice Abad, who is a particular favorite of the IBP kasi we work with him a lot. Very folksy, makatao talaga. May puso para sa masa, may puso para sa mga nahihirap. Si Attorney Morales naman, he is also a UP law professor in banking and finance. Pero makikita mo yung credentials, pati yung approach niya, he's very strong on economics, on money-related matters, banking, which is something na kulang sa ating judicial decisions kasi walang nagiging member ng Korte Suprema na yun talaga ang specialty nila. So he could provide a very welcome expertise to the Supreme Court. On the other hand, si Dean Raul Pangalangan naman, who brings to him a broad perspective at saka an academic approach to cases that can translate into judicial policy, into national policy, kung magpa-participate ang Supreme Court dun sa tinatawag na natin na national conversation on policy. So makikita natin lahat sila may contribute talaga sa Korte
kasi
Suprema.
puro nga magaling, ano? It's like, we have a problem, Professor Carl, we have a problem at sila iba't ibang klaseng approach, iba't ibang klaseng solusyon. You have a successful law dean, you have a corporate lawyer, and an incumbent associate justice. Sa iyo, bilang hindi abogado, ano yung medyong na-impress ka?
Opo, na-impress po ako na, sorry, impress po ako na ang dami pala talagang magagaling na lawyers, na mga experienced individuals sa Pilipinas na sana tuloy-tuloy lang yung pagtaas ng standard. Tapos maganda po na makikita ng taong bayan na there are specific, very concrete suggestions tsaka reforms to the whole justice system.
Ang proposal ni Attorney or Justice Abad was on a change in the approach that we litigate. Ang yung approach ni Attorney Morales was more of corporate approach and we need more personal excellence at iba din yung approach ni Dean Pangalangan. Anong masasabi mo dun sa kanilang mga suggestions, at least on how we do trial or litigation in this country?
Ang pinaka-radical na approach, surprisingly is from Justice Abad. Kasi it does away, for example, with lawyers sa MTC level. So bumababa yung costs of litigation, nagsisimplify yung manner ng paglilitigate sa MTC. So sa maliliit na kaso, mawawala yung backlog natin sa at least on the municipal and MTC level courts. On the other hand, medyo mas how do you call this, conservative yung approach nung dalawa. They take into consideration yung realpolitik, the interplay nung executive at saka judiciary, yung needs ng national, on creating national policy. So, and you will take note na itong dalawang to, hindi sila nagli-litigate in courts like the municipal or metropolitan trial courts. So, makikita natin na si Justice Abad has his ear on the ground pagdating dun sa mga little things like litigation and cases na involving the poorest of the poor. So, pati yung mga statistics on cellphone snatching, alam niya yun eh. So, nakikita natin na with regard to the judicial system, lahat ng ins and outs, Justice Abad, surprisingly, dahil sitting Supreme Court Associate Justice siya, knows what is going on. But iba naman kasi yung perspektibo na dala ng dalawang kandidato. So, we also have to take that into consideration.
Professor Carl, when we opened the show kanina, pinag-usapan din natin yung requirements ng pagpili na hindi siya credential-related but more character-related. Hindi natin siyempre masusukat yun base sa kanilang CV. Ano po? Base sa iyong nakita ngayon, ano yung impression mo as far as character is concerned?
For me po, lalo na dun kay Justice Abad, parang sa lahat ng mga sinabi niya, parang it's very personal for him. Nakikita mo na in front of the camera, parang talagang may pinaghuhugutan yung mga sinasabi niya. So for me, I'm super impressed with his character. Everything that he suggested, parang talagang rooted in an actual experience. Talagang lumabas siya dun sa kung saan siya ngayon at talagang nakatutok dun sa kung anong talagang kailangan sa ground. Sa iba po, napapansin na natin na yung si Mr. Corporate Lawyer, talagang alam mo, inaamin naman niya na matagal na siyang hindi pumupunta sa korte, hindi nakakapag-litigate or something. So, mapapansin mo rin na iba yung approach niya at hindi na lumalabas masyado yung issues of character or hindi nga natanong ata what is he like, his qualities. Kay Dean Raul naman, although na-mention yung mga episodes in his life where his character was questioned because he had an opposition, parang lumabas na dahil medyo matagal na yun, parang hindi rin sing intense yung scrutiny of his character unlike kay Justice Abad, na talagang lumitaw yung personality niya as someone rooted and pro-poor.
Si Justice Abad, Attorney Trixie, is masasabi nating babad na siya sa sistema. Ang high point sa buhay ni Attorney Morales is his being managing partner, one of the biggest, if not the biggest firms. Mukhang ang high point din Pangalangan is just being able to manage the University of the Philippines faculty and running a law school na magaling. So tingin mo ano yung, as far as leadership is concerned, of the judiciary, papasa na ba yung law firm leadership or law school leadership?
Well, I really actually don't think that you can put down being the dean of the UP College of Law, especially if you have very contentious members of the faculty who think they're a little less brilliant than God.
Okay.
So, I am serious because they were my professors.
All right.
So I'm still scared of them up to now. So yes, it's not. It's
Considering the
not
collegial nature
yes,
and yung permanent nature ng bureaucrasya, sa tingin mo, they will have the necessary energy to manage that huge an organization?
So I think they all have an equal chance. Even Dean Raul, although lumalabas lang yung deanship niya sa College of Law, ang primary government experience and leadership experience niya dito. But when you consider that it is UP College of Law faculty who can get very, how shall we put this, contentious, and and are all brilliant within their own rights. It's like it's like a mini Supreme Court, because everybody is brilliant, everybody's good, everybody has acquired their position by merit or primarily by merit. So mahirap rin maging leader when constantly you can be questioned, both on academic competence, leadership, legitimacy at any point. So it is.
How about law firm? How about law firm?
Well, nako. Well, of course, law firms have their own particular and unique culture.
Okay.
Diba? You have the slaves, which are the associates. Of course not. But there's a hierarchical structure, which actually the Supreme Court is also the same. There's a hierarchy, the Supreme Court being at the top of the heap, your lowly MTC judge right down at the bottom. This is the hierarchy of the judicial system. Unfortunately, in law offices, although well-deserved, when you become partner, in all likelihood, you have gone up there on the basis of grit, hard work, and a lot of lost sleep. So, you deserve it.
Correct.
When you get to the top, you deserve it. So, ganun din. Yung mindset na yon, pag dinala mo sa Supreme Court, hindi masyadong magbabago.
Right.
Ganun pa rin yung tingin mo. It's a hierarchical structure and you got there on the basis of your own merit, and you have a right to demand the best work also from the lower ranking members of the judiciary. So, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Ayan. Ang napansin ko, Professor Carl, lumabas din, unlike yesterday, iba yung pinag-usapan ngayon, lumabas yung speedy disposition of cases, kung paano magiging mas approachable sa masa, sa mga taong bayan. Na-appreciate mo ba yun na concern din pala ng korte yan, iniisip nila yun at hindi lamang yung NGO who seem to be putting a claim na silang lang ang may fighting for the rights of the poor.
Sobrang na-appreciate ko po yun, lalo na dahil ngayon may sinabi si Dean Raul kanina na institutional memory, importante daw yun in the reform of the bar exam. Tingin ko po, ngayon na nakatutok din yung taong bayan, hindi man namin lubos maintindihan lahat ng mga detalye, mahalaga na kahit paano pumapasok sa memory namin bilang taong bayan, yung mga reforma na ito. Kasi yung mga specific problems na ito talagang nangyayari dun sa baba. At dahil nakikita natin na may posible palang magawa na very specific na e-eksperimentuhan, na-test, na puprove kung ano yung mas mabuti, mas hindi mabuti, magandang alam din ng taong bayan kahit paano may certain may perception tayo na may nangyayari talaga specific at concrete.
Attorney Trixie, itong interviews nito, even if they don't make it, halimbawa yung suggestion ni Dean Andy to outsource docketing system, itong proposal ni Associate Justice Abad on fixing the bail structure o yung presyuhan ng bail sa ating bansa, pwede na ito makatulong sa Supreme Court even if they don't make it.
Oo, definitely. Yung paglahad ng judicial philosophies, mga agenda for judicial reform, kailangan na ilalabas ito para nakikita rin natin kung ano yung mga kailangan ayusin. Sino man ang manalo, narinig din ito. Ito yung mga tinatawag natin na competition is good for us.
Yes,
so, dito pagalingan sila, but it doesn't necessarily mean pagka hindi sa'yo yung idea, hindi mo mapapatakbo yun. So, okay rin to.
Ayan. Hinahanap pa rin po natin ang susunod na Chief Justice ng ating bansa. Nagpapasalamat tayo kay Attorney Trixie Angeles of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines and Professor Carl Satinitigan for their thoughts. Alam niyo po, napakagagaling and they come from their own fields of expertise na naging very successful sila. So kung ano po talaga yung pinakamaganda para sa ating bayan, para sa ating Supreme Court, ayun ay titimbangin ng Judicial and Bar Council to come up with a short list, and then eventually the President who will of course decide on who will be the next Chief Justice. Ngayong hapon, susunod po si Justice Arturo Brion, Rene Sarmiento, and Manuel DJ Sicangco. Makakasama niyo po si Robert Tan and si Ma'am Nikki Baluyot Jimenez. Maraming salamat sa inyong panonood sa umagang session ng JBC Live Interviews for the next Chief Justice. We turn over to the studios for News at 1.
Attorney Mark Castrodes, ito na po ang News at 1.
Sa mga balita ngayon, panel interview ng Judicial and Bar Council sa mga nominado sa pwesto ng punong maestrado nagpapatuloy ngayon. Dating Pangulong Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo pinayagang magpiyansa ng 1 milyong piso sa kasong electoral sabotage. Hugmong sa datahan ng Pilipinas, kumpiyansang lalakas pa ang alyansa ng Pilipinas at Australia sa larangan ng depensa. Pag-i-issue ng lisensya sa baril, hihigpitan pang lalo kaugnay ng pinag-ibayong kampanya kontra krimen. At sa ibayong dagat, bilang ng patay sa malubhang baha sa Nigeria, humigit kumulang na sa 40.
Nagmumula sa pambansang sentro ng balitaan ng telebisyon ng bayan. Narito ang News at 1.
Magandang Miyerkules ng tanghali, bansang Pilipinas. Sa mga balita, kasama natin sina Joseph Parapina na nasa Korte Suprema. Si Elena Luna mula naman sa Palasyo ng Malacanang. Si George Bandola nasa lungsod ng Makati at si April Enerio nasa Quezon City. Para sa detalye ng mga balita, nagpatuloy ngayon ang ikalawang araw ng pag-interview ng Judicial and Bar Council sa mga nominado sa punong maestrado. Unang sumalang sa panel interview si Associate Justice Roberto Abad. Sa kanyang pagharap sa panel, sinabi ni Abad na sakaling siya ang mapili bilang susunod na Chief Justice, ipinatupad nila ang malawakang reforma sa hudikatura. Ipinaliwanag niya na tambal ngayon ang mga kaso sa korte dahil sa simpleng probable